Hello and welcome back to Talkin Pitch Side. I'm your host PJ with my co-host Tony, as always, here to cover all things MLS and U.S. men's national team. But this is a MLS jam-packed episode, Tony. We've got a little quick recap to do. We've got a preview to do. We've got MLS all week long, and it's beautiful. It was a great, one of the
Crazy.
all-time best MLS 360 viewing experiences we had at around 9 p.m. on a Wednesday.
That's when it all broke loose. I mean, this has to be, I didn't run the numbers, how many goals per game we've got, and just the entertainment for a Wednesday night. You know, usually you save the best for the weekend, but we brought it out on Wednesday night, just 11 games. But, I mean, even like we were just talking pre-show, which ones we wanted to move fast and which ones you got to quick. And it's like, oh, man, we could make this whole
We want
episode
to talk
just
about all of them.
recapping.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it was really exciting, and it's crazy to think we got the whiplash of now looking forward to Saturday and Sunday too. It's just a great time to be an MLS fan.
Yeah, as Stin's picks, as you guys all know him, hit us with a text on Wednesday night, being like there were 16 goals scored in this state of New York on Wednesday night, which is
Well, New
ridiculous.
Jersey too, you know,
Yeah,
technically, so, yeah,
yeah,
metro area.
gotta
Yeah,
respect metro area.
yeah,
Okay, well let's get into it. Quick hitter: FC Cincinnati draw New York City 4-4. Cincinnati, this is just a theme now. They go down in games, then they climb back enough to draw in said game and almost win all these games. And it's getting repetitive. And I'm sure a pattern that Pat Noonan does not want to see. But both of these teams, well, I mean, they're scoring a ton of goals. NYCFC got to feel good to get some goals scored. But, I mean, they've been sliding, and to blow a lead like that late in a game is got to be a brutal feeling.
yeah. And it's tough too because I think from a New York City perspective, there's not a whole lot to blame in terms of, oh well, we were missing our star player, or you know, we just, I mean, everybody came off the playing on Saturday, so there's not an obvious excuse here. And I think that was something that was frustrated a lot by, or you know, the fans were saying that, but I think Pascal Janssen, the coach, was also saying that too, that like that they got to figure out their structure. In these last few games, they've kind of gotten a little bit complacent and blowing some leads. But from a Cincinnati side, it's like, oh man, this fight's so great, but why does it take going down and constantly having to chase the game in order to be able to turn on? That's been the tug and pull of both of these teams, that lands us at a bizarre, crazy, miracle draw, depending on how you're looking at it.
Yeah, both these teams are going to be looking to really just before this World Cup settle into the season a little bit more. Of course, NYCFC went from super hot to super cold, and FCC's now gone 3 straight weeks of just draws. So they're pulling their best Toronto
Yeah.
impression here in 2026.
And you still couldn't even touch Toronto. because we,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Quick hitter here: Orlando takes down Charlotte 4-1. Dominant game. Good for Orlando. They needed this. You said it as we were eating dinner tonight. Robbie Johnson, it's just the secret sauce to Orlando. When he plays, they play well. They need him to stay healthy. And for Charlotte, you've got to, I don't know. I talked about him in the rankings in the midweek. Like, this team is so chaotic. Like, it's so hard to get a feel on what they are, and I don't feel any better about them coming out of this week.
No, I kind of feel like, honestly, this, I think Orlando, this is a big step up, but this was more about Charlotte on the road, just coming up completely empty-handedly, and with really a very disappointing to show performance after what we've seen of them. Then to do this, I think this is kind of the, like, it's somehow with Charlotte right now, we simultaneously experience their floor and their ceiling in the span of like a week. And that's the part that's like, man, they just need some consistency, some strength. But yeah, Robin Johnson, I think he's played the last 3 games for Orlando, and they've only let in a goal each game. Versus prior to that, it was like they were averaging like 3 or 4 goals a game. So huge bump for there. And the other thing with Orlando too is that this, I believe, is the first game that all 3 U22 Brazilians started. And hey, it was a good result. We'll see if that sticks, if they can make that happen in future games. But I think for the time being, that's a little thing you can hang your cap on and say, you know, maybe the roster is not as broken and screwed up as we think. So Definitely some silver
Yeah.
lining for Orlando.
I mean, if they can stabilize this thing through the World Cup until Antoine Griezmann gets there, like
Yeah.
you never know. And the Eastern Conference is wild, man. I mean, there's about 5 teams. It feels like with 9 points, sitting at 2 points out of a playoff spot right now, and all it takes 1 week to turn that around. You jump in the playoff spot, and you're feeling good. So I think it's a great opportunity for them just to maybe build some momentum here. So good for Orlando. Happy
Yeah.
for their fans. They needed that one. They needed it.
Absolutely, they did.
Um, Red Bulls, DC, and the other 4-4 game in New York, it just went wild. Ty Burrito got a hat trick in this one. DC is going to be the team that's going to feel better coming out of this, getting a point of the road, making a comeback just like FC Cincinnati. The games felt so similar on how how they finished, and I think it's just a mirrored performance basically. And these are not the games you probably would have expected these type of score lines.
Uh, Definitely not DC United hanging up 4 goals, but
No, that's more what I
um,
mean. I mean, Red Bulls can. I
yeah,
know we all know that, but it was more
right.
the DC aspect of it.
For sure, for sure. And this DC defense, or sorry, the Red Bulls defense, I don't know where this has been heading these last few games, but you look at the DC goals, and man, it just takes 2 passes, and Red Bulls gets dismantled, and they're in behind. Jackson Hopkins, the 21-year-old striker for DC United, like to me, like I mean, he showed up in a lot of the highlights, and I don't know if maybe it's his form or what, but he just does not look particularly that fast to me. And he's in behind and like in breakaways all the time. And it's like, how is he not getting caught? How are we letting this happen? I don't get that. So it's a really interesting swing here for Red Bulls. Fortunately for them, last night was also the Ruvalcaba coming out party. 2 goals with his first goal, I think, looking really nice, where he dices up 2 guys and then roofs his shot past Sean Johnson. So that's what kind of carried him over the edge. And I think that, I mean, honestly, if Red Bulls is going to be like this, where they're going to be an all, attack type team, they're going to need him and Cade Cowell to really pick up the pace.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't seen a whole lot from them, and Mehmeti and Julian Hall have stolen the headlines, which has been great, but they're not the main salary guys that were brought in. They've just happened to be like fun storylines. So if Red Bulls really wants to be the notch up that they're aiming at, they got to have at least a few more people step up and show up there. DC United, I mean, this is a game we watched them lose 4-0 last year, I guess is the only thing you can say about this.
Yeah,
I mean, having Baribo, like,
we say it. Points on the road. You get a
yeah,
point on the road.
absolutely. So I think that it's not that I don't find this unexpected from DC United, but the same way I don't expect games like this to happen that much for DC United. I guess if I'm making any sense here. The floor has gone up a little bit, but there's still a long way ahead for this DC team.
Totally. I know we're spending a lot more time on these early games because the early games were insane.
Yeah.
And the last one we're going to cover these early games is Toronto and Philly. You think as Philly, you're like, oh my gosh, we get a late goal. This is like something we can start building on. This feels great. And then Gavron, the goalkeeper for Toronto, comes flying in for a header to draw this game at the death. This is just Toronto. They just love scoring at the death or allowing a goal right at the death. Like they're turning into the Toronto of last year where they just tie every game, it feels like.
Yeah.
So it's a good point to salvage at home. Once again, they just aren't winning home games though, which I think has got to be concerning for them because it's just been a weird stretch of home games and a lack of winning in those home games, but they're not playing like awful. So it's like a weird dynamic. They're still feeling out this team. They don't have Mihailovic still. They Josh Sargent's trying to find his feet. That Walker Zimmerman has been in and out of this lineup. So
yeah, 65 here.
It's just been chaotic, and I think they're doing fine to survive right now. It's just you with all these home games, you do want some more victories, of course.
Yeah, you do. And man, this cardiac Toronto team, we got to start counting. I need to keep a stat on them. How many goals that there's been in the last like 5 to 10 minutes of each of their games that like changes the outcome. This time in their benefit, and honestly, it's been about 50-50 when it's in their benefit and when it's not in their benefit. But man, this is just a game that you look at and I say like you got to be frustrated, but also you got to be excited. I think this is like uh, honestly, DC United is like Toronto light in terms of their rebuild. Like Toronto's a step ahead of DC United, and again, with the Italians on this team, this is a game we were used to just watching them lose, and obviously, like goalkeeper goal that makes history. That you know that's not going to happen all the time. That's just a fun little cherry on top of all
Just a
of this.
great
But
header, by the way. Just
well,
a,
was it pure
it
header
wasn't
or
like
did
an
it kind of
easy
like
one.
flick off his shoulder a little bit? I thought
Yeah,
it was
it
kind of
still was. It was great. It was
yeah.
like it
Oh
was a
yeah.
perfect header. He came flying in for it. You just
Oh, and it
love
was
it.
recycled set piece too. Like it was like first time didn't go, and he's like, "Well, I'm up here. Let me just move into another position." And like, I get it. If you're Philly, who's gonna mark that guy? It's the goalie. Like, why worry about it? Well, that's why.
Yeah.
So no, I think that this is just one of those things that, um, even though it's probably frustrating in the game, and it's probably been frustrating for Toronto fans. Like, imagine being a season ticket holder and watching so many of these games back to back. I think you
Oh,
have. I think you have to be like
it's
excited a little
entertaining.
bit. Yeah, you have to be excited a little bit that you have entertainment back in your stadium, and it's not completely empty-handed.
Yeah. Okay. Well, some games that also happened. Atlanta lose to New England in unsurprising fashion. We've got Dallas actually losing at home to Minnesota. Minnesota continues their great run of form. So credit to
Yeah,
Minnesota.
Musa went down
Houston,
hurt in that one too.
a game
That's
out.
worth
A game I
mentioning.
want to talk about. Yeah,
Yeah.
true. A team I want to talk about a little bit more is Houston taking on San Diego. We talked about San Diego. We were concerned about San Diego, and concerns continue to rise. And I know it's a road game, but the offense isn't clicking the same as it was earlier in the year and even last year, and it just looks disjointed right now. And I think the concern you've got to have is this going to now just continue on in the lack of DP production because one of them just literally isn't playing? Is this going to hurt this team going forward?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of that and when you've got what, 7 red cards in 9 games, like I mean they've they've played way more of the season down a man than like they have with 11.
Both these
So
teams had a red card late in this one. It
yeah,
was got a little
so
frisky at the end.
you already have a thin squad. You keep making it thinner on the field every single game. I think that's part of the run. If they get that part figured out, which seems like that should be easy to figure out, yet I mean it's been on a crazy streak. But I think that this is going to regress to the mean a little bit if they stay away from the red cards. But I think it is, it's a little bit of a step down. But like you said, they're not right now. They're not built. I think they kind of screwed themselves with Lozano and just how they've approached all of that. But they're just not built in a way at the moment that utilizes every mechanism that's at their disposal. That's what they did last year. It's just not where they're at right now.
Totally. Miami go to Arcel and take them down 2-0, which is surprising. Arcel's attack has been really good, and I think this is a great result for Miami just to kind of continue this winning streak. I think you're going to see them get going here before the World Cup, partly because I think you're going to see Messi trying to build up for this World Cup, his last World Cup, and Argentina is going to be a team to beat in that one. So we'll see how they continue to look. The Crew get a much needed win at home versus the Galaxy and kind of rejuvenate this season a little bit. Galaxy, it's just injuries. Can't really say much more than that. It's just going to be
Yeah.
a rough go at it with all these injuries. Um, LFC Colorado draws 0-0 in a game that no one would have thought there'd be 0 goals in that game, and that game had 0 goals.
Very dead.
And then the last game of the night that capped it off was San Jose just beating the crap out of Boston. I can't get over how much this team feels like Vancouver of last year. It like this is what Vancouver was doing, where it was like, oh, they're going on like, is this real? Is this not? And then they would just like against the teams they should beat, they would beat the crap out of them, and
Yeah.
that's what San Jose's been doing. So I credit to them, and I don't think we need to spend a ton of time on those games. I think we'll talk about it a little bit in this preview here as we get into game week number 10, technically, as we're going into more than a quarter of the way through the season. So we're getting ready. The season's gonna feel like 3 seasons by the end of it after the World Cup, but
Yeah.
we are a quarter of the way through it. First game we're gonna preview here, Tony, is Toronto at home. Another 1 o'clock game at home. I don't know what they did to piss off the United States, but
They knew it
they're
was going
being
to be
punished
cold.
for some
They
reason.
knew.
And I can't believe how many home games they've played. I
Yeah.
think they're just going to live on the road in the second half of this season.
They
So
have to. Yeah.
they they played Atlanta at home. This should be a game they should win. This should be the perfect game for them to just get their winning at home. Like, just figure that out. This is the game that has to be done. I don't care who you have available. It has to be done against this poor Atlanta side.
So we're seeing a latte lot hat trick. Is that what we're?
In the last 5 minutes.
Yeah,
All
right.
three
That's
of them.
everything in stoppage time. Um, this is just the only kind of game that, like, you could say, oh, if Atlanta might rip off some points on the road, this is the game, right? I mean, it's because of Toronto's unpredictability. But I can't do that to them. They've gone through too much. Toronto, Atlanta, they've they've been through a lot too. But they've also, well, I guess Toronto's won MLS Cup, but Atlanta's won MLS Cup more recently. So you guys, you need to experience a road loss here. I'm going to give this one to Toronto. I think this is the breakthrough for them.
I agree. A team that's been only beating New York teams thus far this season is Montreal, and they've got a New York team, Tony. They are playing NYCFC, the other New York team.
Yeah.
Maybe this is just they play New York and they turn into a great team. So they're going to be looking to continue some form here. They're going to be playing NYCFC at home. NYCFC, of course, coming off that crazy draw. They're going to need to bounce back with a win. They need a win. They've been on a pretty rough streak here now, and are going to be desperate for one. So I actually anticipate this game to be very competitive. I think I know Montreal is very up and down, but I think this is one they will show up for.
I think so too. I mean, they're catching New York City at a rough patch right now. The question
And Montreal didn't
is,
play in the midweek, right?
no, they didn't.
So they're on a full week's rest against this team. So
Right, that's huge too. The question is are they good against New York teams or New Jersey teams? Is there a difference? So that's hopefully for Montreal, it hangs on to the New York City trend, but it's Montreal. It's so hard trusting them, but we're a home league, and I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to go Montreal. I think the extra rest, like you pointed out, is really important here. Owusu,
I'm going Montreal, by the way. I didn't say it. I'm going
Owusu's
Montreal.
tearing it up. I mean, like he's going crazy right now. I just I don't know. And I could also see Nico Fernandez just ruining Montreal's defense as well. So you know what? Actually, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go draw on this one. We're gonna split the points.
Next game here we have Minnesota at home versus IFC. Super interesting game. Minnesota's arguably one of the hottest teams in the league right now. They're in great form. They've won, I think, 3 or 4 in a row at this point. And then they're taking on an LAFC team that is on its worst form of the season. I mean, they are coming off not scoring in multiple games, or I guess they did score against San Jose, but it was kind of a nothing goal. And this is interesting. I think this is a great test for these teams. Like, how real is this Montreal, Minnesota thing, and how real is this struggle for LAFC? Like, those are two pretty important factors that could kind of plague these teams over or help these teams over the next 5 weeks before the World Cup. So I'm going to be tuned in on this one. This one to me is one of the more interesting game of the weeks, and kind of just like getting a gut check on both of these teams and how real this is.
Yeah. So I mean, we brushed over LAFC Colorado really quickly, but I think some context is important there in the sense that like Colorado brought it to LAFC at LAFC.
Yeah.
And they really looked pretty worn down just from these games starting to add up on them with all the competitions. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some rotation for LAFC here because this following week they jump back into CONCACAF, and that's going to be super important. So I think this is a rotated team, and I think, honestly, that works to their advantage because now we're talking about, probably Tyler Boyd and Jacob Schaffelberg in there instead of Martinez and Stun and Bawanga. I'm sure some of those guys will get a few minutes, but here's the big thing. The big picture is, and this playbook has not changed for LAFC. If you bunker, they really struggle to break through you. They are great when they're behind you, but when they're in front of you, they really struggle. And that's Minnesota's MO, is that they're going to keep everybody in front of them. They're going to keep 5, 6 guys behind the ball. And I think that's just going to be too hard to break down for LAFC. So I'm going to give Minnesota the benefit of the doubt here and take them at home.
I'm gonna go 0-0 draw. I don't think we're gonna
Oh,
find out much about these teams. Like I could
wow.
see this
Okay.
just being a like both teams want to play defense and it doesn't look pretty. So that's where I'm gonna go. I think the Sun thing is bizarre that we're 10 weeks into the season and he has not scored a goal. It's insane. And there's just gonna be a game. You know, it's just gonna happen eventually where he's gonna break out. It's just odd and bizarre that hasn't happened yet. So
Yeah.
um, we'll move on here. First game in the 7:30 slot I have here is Columbus at home versus Philly. Two teams that are on the lower end of the Eastern Conference right now. Columbus, of course, coming off the win, big win at home versus LA Galaxy. A game that, I mean, with all the injuries, Galaxy still could have gotten a point out of that game if it weren't
Yeah.
for a peck save at the end of one of his shots. So this will be interesting. I think Phillies, they've looked better as of late. So I don't think they're as poor as they were at the beginning of the year, but I still, when we were home league, I can't pick against Columbus against how poor this Philly side has been. So I'm going to go Columbus, but I think it's a tight game. I don't think it's either team's going to dominate this game.
Yeah. I mean, we're in the Gazdag Bowl right now. And, I mean, he just scored. He just scored
What a depressing
last
bowl.
night. I know the Gazdag Bowl. Well, he was amazing for Philly. Well, Penn Dog, but, more or less. Um,
I
I
hope
don't
he gets
know.
Philly this one. I think that'd be very
Yeah,
fitting.
that just tastes their own medicine. I think that is kind of an important goal for me, honestly, for the Crew, because in life after Abu Ali, like they got to see where those goals are coming from. Gazdag starts, Gazdag scores. Um, I think that's an important thing for them. He has not been utilized much this season, so I don't think the mileage is adding up on him the same like some of these other guys. Um, I I just think that he might be able to like have his kind of Goss theorem really late. Um, I don't know if it counts second year in the like out of team versus in the league, but there might be a little bit of a resurgence here. I don't know for sure, but the Crew need that desperately. They're going to put their eggs in that basket for how much. I mean, they're paying a designated player. And the Union, I think, just have not been very punishing on mistakes this year. I think that's been the big difference between this year and last year. And so I think that Crew at home are just going to put a lot of pressure on Philly, and the mistakes that they do get from that, I don't think are going to get punished very often. So I like the Crew
Yeah.
here.
Now moving on to two teams that scored 4 goals each in the midweek, and that is DC and Orlando. DC's at home. And this is I was looking at this in the pre-show and previewing a little bit. I couldn't get a read on how I felt about this game. Like I'm right when I'm like, yeah, DC at home. Like this Orlando side hasn't looked good at times. Then I was like, do I believe in this Orlando momentum a little bit? So I just settled on a draw. I think this one. I don't think it's gonna be high scoring as it was. I think we're looking at a 1-1, 2-2. And I think these teams share points in DC.
I think I'm going to go Orlando on the road here, actually.
It makes sense.
And
That's if I were to pick a team, if I had to, I would pick
yeah,
Orlando in this one.
and really the reasoning is I think that a Robin Johnson Orlando defense is stronger than a current Red Bulls defense. And I see like a time or two where they're able to poke through. Martin Ojeda looked really good last night. I think that there's an opportunity to break through this leaky DC United defense. It's just a matter of is Baribo going to be able to do what he does and just kind of be a fox in the box against this Orlando team. But I think that Orlando's been organized enough that that's not going to dictate this game. Is DC United running the score up on them? So I'm going to give Orlando all three on the road.
Okay. Moving into Cincinnati at home versus Red Bulls, a game we have seen as of late, and that was Red Bulls taking it to. FC Cincinnati in a game at home. So now we're doing it in Cincinnati. It will be interesting, man. There's going to be goals scored. These two defenses are bad, and these two offenses are playing really well lately.
Yeah.
So I know this is probably the exact game where it's going to actually end up like 1-0. Everyone's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But if I were to guess a scoreline, it's going to be right around like 2-2. I think both these teams are going to get goals. They're going to have opportunities. It could be one team could have more goals than that. I mean, these are the two of the worst defenses in all of MLS right now, and injuries are plaguing these defenses.
Yeah.
So I just don't. I don't know. I'm gonna go. You know how I am. I'm gonna go Cincinnati, of course, to win. But
Yep.
there's gonna be goals, and I wouldn't be shocked if Cincinnati goes down 3-1 and come back to draw 3-3. I'll just say that.
I think I'm gonna step into an optimistic position this time. I think normally I would say we lose, but this time I'm gonna call it a draw. Because I think the defense is going to be a massive issue against Red Bulls, especially like I mentioned, Ruvakalbo coming out party. That's the side that FC Cincinnati was trying out in Boma Dem. And, Brian Ramirez will be back, I would assume, but I don't like that on top of, there's just the center back depth is just really, really tested at the moment. We're not sure about what all those injuries are looking like at the second. So I'm really worried about how many goals are going to get scored on Cincinnati and how they're going to be able to counteract that. So I'm going to go draw on this one.
Okay. Now into Miami at home versus New England. Miami? This is going to win by like 4. This feels
5.
like New
Yeah.
England's like they won a game. Oh, here comes the roller coaster the other way. They're going to lose
Yeah.
by 4.
No
It's
momentum.
going to
Yep.
be a brutal game.
Sorry
That's the
about
feeling
it.
they get out of this one.
Yep. Yep. This is our hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby of the week.
Poor
And
Matt Turner. He's just going to be getting
so sorry,
peppered.
Matt Turner. But hey, if you make a few good saves in this one, Freeze didn't look great last night. So is it up for grabs? Who knows?
No,
You can still prove it. You could still do it. I
I hope
honestly
not.
wouldn't be surprised if, like, very first World Cup starting lineup, we
Yeah,
see
Roman
Matt Turner.
Celentano is going to start.
Oh gosh, I start on his couch watching.
He might be playing himself out of the World Cup spot. That's a quick side note, but
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Chris Brady. Chris Brady's in.
yeah. Okay. Well, we've got Miami moving on that one, so we'll keep it moving. Austin at home versus Houston is an interesting game. Austin hasn't been a horrible home team this year, actually, and Houston is now in a 2-game win streak, which we've been kind of waiting for them to do something, and here it is. Now they're not scoring in these games. I think they won both of them 1-0, if I remember correctly. It's been tight, hard fought games. I think it's going to be similar. I'm going to go draw. I think this is shared points written all over it. I think this is going to be a low scoring game in the range of 1-1 is probably would be my guess.
Yeah, Austin's in a tricky, just they have not won a game in their last 5, including an Open Cup getting dunked on by Louisville City. They're not in a great spot right now. I think Houston's got a little bit of an edge on them. The other part of this is like Facundo Torres had some pretty disappointing moments in that game last night. I don't know if that's the trend we continue to see from him, because a lot of the criticism from him coming to Austin in the offseason in the first place was like, he's good, but he's not great. Like, he's not going to be able to be that guy for you. And I'm just a little bit worried that Austin needs him to be that guy. So I think I'm going to go another road game here. I'm going to call Houston on this one. I like where they're going. Guilherme has.
Okay.
We were just looking at this. He's in the spots for goal contribution leader in the league right now. So he's like in second. So I think that kind of continues.
Yeah, another quick little side note. Me and Tony were discussing over dinner tonight. There is no. It's weird how there's like no clear favorite to an MVP early in the season. Like no one's running away with the idea of it, and it's. I think it's fun. It's fun for the league knowing that like we might actually have a tight MVP race,
Yeah,
especially because
not
you
like
don't know how
last
the
year.
World Cup's going to factor into Messi and what that's going to take off of him. So I think it's going to be an open race this year. It's going to be interesting.
Fingers crossed.
Continuing on here, we've got Chicago at home versus SKC. Toronto. Chicago at home versus SKC. I'm going Chicago. I'm not going to think twice about it. SKC is just can't even beat Division 3 teams at this point. So we're gonna keep it rolling, and I'm picking Chicago.
Yeah, no reason to pick against them. Both on fresh rest this week, so I think this is going to be a fun game. I think it's going to be pretty open, but I think it's going to be Chicago and probably by a few goals.
Yep. Speaking about a few goals, I think you could see the same thing with Nashville at home versus Charlotte. The Charlotte team, I can't get a read on this team. I don't know what they are, what their identity is yet. Um, but I do know that for Nashville, and that is to attack, attack, attack with this three-headed monster. I do. Or do we get Sam Surge back this week?
Um,
I think he's
let's
close.
see
I
if
didn't know
we.
if it was this week though.
I just see a thing that just says
Regardless,
doubtful, but yeah,
I'm still picking Sam Surge or even the Sam Surge lists Nashville to beat Charlotte at home. I think that they just have so much more offensive capabilities and they'll be able to break down that Charlotte defense.
yeah. This is just kind of one of those games though where it does feel like Charlotte's going to give them a tougher take at it than like you would think it needs. I could see 1-0 Nashville on this one, and it's kind of a little bit sweaty, and then there's like a 75th minute goal for Nashville kind of thing. So I'm going to take Nashville still, but I think this one is going to be closer than maybe you think.
Okay. Keeping it rolling here. St. Louis at home versus San Jose. I'm sorry, St. Louis, but there's a train rolling through and it's San Jose winning by
Yeah,
three
yeah,
goals.
yeah,
No, I actually don't think it will be by that much. I think it'll be like a 2-0, 2-1 type game. I think they're coming off midweek. St. Louis did not play in the midweek, so they're gonna be a little bit more fresh. But I still believe in San Jose's just foundation right now as a team. I mean, they've got all the momentum in the world, and I think they keep it rolling.
PJ, you ready for stat of the day?
Ooh, okay.
St. Louis has played San Jose 6 times in all of history because St. Louis is pretty new. How many times has San Jose won this matchup?
How many times have they played?
6.
Are they like 6-0?
Yeah. San Jose has
Whoa!
never beaten St. Louis ever.
I
So
don't care.
this
This
you're
team's different.
predicting history here if that's I mean, but you think about it like the time that St. Louis has been in this league, like San Jose has just been major buns for like all of that time, and this is the first time they're kind of good while St. Louis has been
Mm-hmm.
around. So I'm still taking San Jose there, but I thought I would share that fun one. I did not realize it's been 6 games and San Jose has never beaten St. Louis. So finally, the chip is off their shoulder after that.
Okay, well, we've got San Diego at home versus Portland. This has got to be the week for San Diego. They've got to figure it out against this Portland side. Like, if you can't score against this defense, then you've got issues. And I think they do figure it out this week. I trust the San, even despite another red card. I think they still have enough to break down this Portland defense. And
Yeah.
I think they probably win this one like a 3-1 game. Like, I think this is a bounce back game that you see for San Diego.
Yeah, this certainly should be one that San Diego takes away, and if they do not, then I think it's okay to start seriously raising questions on what's going on with these guys because that'd be quite the drop off. But where Portland's at, I think that San Diego, is going to be able to handle this. The only thing that's kind of working against them is that Portland didn't play midweek, so Portland's going to be a little bit fresher here versus San Diego, who just grinded it out at Houston. So something away there, but Portland's also on the road, so you might be able to just call that a wash altogether. I think
Mm-hmm.
that San Diego is going to come out on top, and if not, we got questions.
Yeah, big questions. And
Yeah,
I've already got red alert on it, and I think you're going to be really panicking if you're San Diego if you lose this one.
yeah,
Seattle at home versus Dallas. We said it, Musa injury, I
yep,
believe, right? And
yep,
I don't know the severity of Foley, but I would think he's not playing this week. And if you don't have Musa, I'm not picking you. And it's already Seattle at home, so I'm going to go Seattle. I think it's going to be a pretty dominant game if they don't have Musa. I'm expecting like a 2-0, 3-0 type game here.
yeah. Fresh Seattle over tired Dallas, Musa-less Dallas. Logan Farrington has been great, but like you said, it's Seattle at home. We don't need to overthink this one. This is probably one of the easier ones to pick probably this week, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And to cap off Saturday, we have Vancouver at home versus Colorado. I think this is one of the more fun games of the week. I
Yeah.
expect this to be a shootout to a degree in this one. I think you could see, um, like a 3-2 scoreline. I think it's Vancouver that pulls away. I just believe in them as a home team, so I'm gonna go Vancouver. And but I think it's gonna be a great game. Like it's a great Saturday night game to like end the MLS day off with.
Yeah, I kind of feel like this game comes down to how many silly mistakes is Colorado going to make. Because if they play like the attacking game they typically play, and maybe only have like one or two like self-imposed meltdown moments, I like can kind of envision a world in which they're stealing 3 points here.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I'm not sure they're there yet. I think that there are those moments where they're going to kind of collapse in on themselves. Though they held out against LAFC, so I'm, you know what, we'll call a draw here. We're going to go draw on this one.
Okay.
I just think Colorado's feistier than what we're used to, and this is another great milestone here for both these teams to see where they're at.
And to cap us off, we have Sunday Night Soccer, LA Galaxy at home versus RSL. I think another good game. Like I'm interested to see how RSL now bounce back after getting punched in the face a little bit this past week. I think I expect them to bounce back well and actually win this game. I think that I'm really concerned about this Galaxy squad and the depth that they have at this point with all these injuries, and you got a DP to replace a DP, and that DP's hurt. It's a mess from like top end talent wise. We'll see what the wingers can give them. It hasn't been much as of late, so we're concerned about that. But I think you hope you ride the Peck wave here and bounce back a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that like that loss to Miami for RSL, I don't ding them too much for that. I thought that they fought pretty hard in that one. A couple calls didn't go their way. There was a really tight offside goal that towards the beginning of the game, that if that would have been called a goal, I mean, that could have changed the trajectory of that entire match for them. So I don't weigh too heavily on that. I still have a lot of stock in RSL. And kind of like you said, just where things are at with this LA Galaxy roster, and particularly starting 11, it's not there right now. And I think that the pressure that RSL is just going to be able to put on those guys is going to be too much probably, and they'll cave. So I like RSL on the road here.
Okay, well that's gonna do it for our MLS preview for the week. We know what's up next, and that's Stin's picks. So let's listen to Stin and see what he's got for us this week.
No coach is better than one coach. The Saputos get freaky when they see a New York Metropolitan team on the schedule. Now, if only they got half as freaky with the DP signing. Montreal 2, NYCFC 1. Copa Tejas leads us to a stoppable force versus a movable object. Two ugly teams try to outlast each other. Matthew McConaughey is doing his best not to OD from Austin's form. Austin 0, Houston 0. I'm staying away from the toilet bowl in DC and choosing the cold whooping of the week. Charlotte's clearly chopped in on a 2025 Orlando type of descent. Smashville finishes the sweep with Charlotte to throw them in the trash where they belong. Nashville 3, Charlotte 1. Jesus Ferreira revenge game, except Jesus Ferreira doesn't do anything. One of the trades of all time for Leo Chu. Never forget his late 2023 run. This one has Seattle Masterclass written all over it. Seattle 1, Dallas 0. This is literally like when Low Bro wants to be like Big Bro, but isn't strong enough yet, so it's just BTA for Low Bro. It's got Calvin Harris and company saying, "We did everything right, now I'm on the outside." Vancouver 3, Colorado 1.
Thank you, Stin, as always, for the entertainment and the laughs. I mean, Tony, he's Montreal 2-1 versus NYCFC. He's got Austin, Houston drawing. I think that was my prediction too. We had the same prediction as him for Nashville. The Jesus Ferreira one game. I'm interested that he only went 1-0. That's a pretty close game. So
Yeah,
I guess that's more of what Seattle's been for most of the year, though.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, and then he had Vancouver beating down Colorado, and he gives a little singing at the end. So we
Yeah.
appreciate it for
I
that.
mean, honestly, we kind of hit all the pillars of Stin. We hit the geography, we hit the music, we hit the music signing, we hit the history lesson with Leo Chu. Like we got like everything out of that. That was a really good one. I'm just concerned that he's running out of breath in these. I don't know if we need to get some push-ups going or something, but I just need to hear more. What, like, if we asked for an extra game out of Stin, do you think he'd run out of breath if he was doing all these back to
Yes.
back? So
When he found out there was midweek games, I was like, don't worry about it. I was like, seriously, like we're not going to be covering very much. And he was like, okay, good, because I don't know if I can do it twice in a week. I was like, okay, we're protecting you.
yeah,
So
this is your cardio.
yeah,
Man, I love. I mean, he had Montreal at home, which I do love the shout out there that they've got the New York Kryptonite there. And I think I have to disagree with him about Jesus Ferreira not doing anything because like he's not a goal guy anymore. He's an assist guy, and he's been doing pretty solid at that in Seattle when he's been available. I mean, he's been hurt a lot, so I'll back that up. But no, I think there needs to be a little bit more Jesus Ferreira respect in the chat here from him.
yeah, I agree. When he's been healthy, he's done stuff. It's just he's not been healthy for the
Right.
past 2 seasons. So
Yeah.
we'll put respect on Jesus Ferreira. That's our podcast.
Yeah.
Not many are saying that, but we will.
We're Jesus Ferreira respect.
Okay, well, that's going to do it for our coverage for this week in the MLS. We will see you guys on Tuesday for a recap of everything the weekend. And like we said, we got the World Cup coming up in about 5 weeks, so be prepared. We're going to start mixing in some group stage previews, matchups, things like that. We're excited. We're gonna be doing some things, so be on the lookout for that on social media and whatnot, and we'll make sure that you guys are in the know. So that being said, we'll see you guys on Tuesday.
See you.